we'll hereby call to order this regularly scheduled meeting of the Sunderland Selectboard. The time is 6:32 p.m. All right, first up we have a list of meetings to approve today. That would be from the April 1st, April 6th, April 8th, April 13th, April 21st, and April 27th meetings. I've perused all those before the meeting, so we do have all those. Any questions on those? I would entertain a motion.
I motion we approve the minutes of the meetings as stated.
Second.
All right, we have a motion made and seconded. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
3-0, Becky. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Alrighty, we are going to jump down quickly to a one-day liquor license to get that out of the way quickly. Let's see, is David around? Is he possibly online? Is he maybe the iPad right there?
I believe David, is he in?
Yeah, I think it's good.
There we go.
Alrighty.
Hello, David.
You may have to unmute him up there. Maybe not. Well, we'll come back around. Alrighty. Oh, I think we have him.
Yes. Hello, David.
Yep. Hi there, David. Wonderful. Technology, man, it makes life a lot easier, isn't it? Alrighty.
Oh, yeah.
Alrighty, so we have here a one-day liquor license application for July 7th. That's the date application. July 31st. Looking at the wrong date. July 31st, 2026, from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. For the Northeastern Nut Growers Association Annual Conference. And it looks
Correct.
like the Beer Guys LLC is going to be the purveyor. Is that correct?
Correct.
Alrighty.
That is me.
Wonderful. Nice to meet you, David. Crystal, Dan, any questions on this one?
Nope.
All right.
I mean, there's not a problem with Town Park being open till 9 p.m., correct? We know that from fire department and stuff. 'Cause
They
it's-
signed up. They both
Okay,
signed
they've
up.
already signed up. Then I'm fine.
Then we are good there. Dan, anything? All right. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to approve the one-day liquor license for July 31st.
I motion we approve a one-day liquor license for the Beer Guy. That's what it's called?
Yep.
Yes.
For July 31st, 4 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Second.
We have a motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3-0. Thank you very much, David. Have a great time.
Thank you very much, and everybody else have a good week.
Thank
You
you.
as well.
Yeah,
All right.
bye-bye.
Is there anything else we want to jump into before we go to the dog hearing?
I think we're ready to go to the
All
dog
right,
hearing.
wonderful. So, next item of new business will be a dangerous nuisance dog hearing regarding the dogs Bougie Boy and Bello. Bello? Bello. All righty. Do you want to give us a little background on this?
I'd like to introduce Josephine. I'm sorry. Rivera. Sorry, Josephine. She has 2 dogs, and there was an incident a few weeks, I guess it was back in June. May 31st. And Kyle Dragon is our ACO, our animal control officer through the sheriff's office in Greenfield. And he responded to the emergency at Josephine's apartment. I know that our town council is here, and he will review what we're doing tonight, just the process for everybody, and then we can dig into the details of testifying.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you, Becky. Good evening, members of the board, members of the public. Nice to be back. Becky asked that I provide a brief overview of the dog hearing process, recognizing that not everybody has been through one of these here before recently. Pursuant to General Law, Chapter 140, Section 157, the board is obligated to hold a hearing upon a complaint from any individual about a dog. And the hearing it must occur under oath, so when we have witnesses come up, we'll swear them. They're able to provide their versions of the story and background. You as the board are able then to ask questions and then deliberate. Ultimately, the statute gives you 3 paths forward. You can first dismiss the complaint entirely if you feel that the actions of the dog do not rise to either dangerous or nuisance. We'll talk about that next. Second, you can declare the dog a nuisance dog. And if you declare the dog a nuisance dog, the statute allows you to order that the dog owner take certain precautions. And it's very broad what those can be. That's really fully in your discretion. Third is you can order the dog a dangerous dog. And if you find that the dog is a dangerous dog, in that case you have to take certain statutory steps, which we'll go through if we get to that point. So the key thing to think about as you are receiving testimony is determining whether the incident at issue meets the nuisance dog or dangerous dog definition. So I'd like to read those for you, and then I think it would be appropriate to take questions, or through you, Mr. Chair, to begin here.
Sound good?
So a nuisance dog is a dog that by excessive barking or other disturbance is a source of annoyance to a sick person residing in the vicinity, or by excessive barking or causing damage that a reasonable person would find such behavior disruptive to one's quiet and peaceful enjoyment, or has threatened or attacked livestock, a domestic animal, or person, but such threat was not grossly disproportionate under the circumstances. So a nuisance dog, in summary, is a dog that is causing some sort of disturbance, but it is not something that is necessarily causing physical injury or death. And it's not something that is disproportionate. So for example, if a dog had a reason to feel threatened, right? Let's say there was a livestock that got loose and was running through the dog's yard, right? The dog might reasonably feel threatened there, and that would fit the nuisance dog definition. A dangerous dog is one step above that. A dangerous dog is a dog that, without justification, attacks a person or domestic animal, causing physical injury or death, or behaves in a manner that a reasonable person would believe pose an unjustified imminent threat of injury or death to a person or another animal. And so that's where you can see the language the legislature has used for dangerous dog. It's a much higher threshold, right? It has to be an attack either without justification, causing injury or death, or number two, behaves in a manner that would lead a person to believe that injury or death would be imminently likely. So I'm happy to repeat those. We can get into the nuances as we go along. Oftentimes I find it helps to have the testimony on the record, and then we can go back and forth. But I did want to share those definitions up front so you could have those in the back of your head as you had questions that you wanted to ask. And I'm happy to answer questions before we begin, or we can swear folks in.
Thank you for reading those definitions. It helps to have that fresh in our minds. Do you guys have any questions for him at this point? No. Okay. Becky, do we want to move into hearing the complaints?
Yes, and I
Okay.
think we need to do that through the testimony.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, if you'd like to, or we'll
Please.
just need to swear in everybody here who is going to be testifying, we can do it all at once.
If you're okay doing that, please take it away.
I'm happy to. Who do we have who will be testifying today? And-
Well, that's my dog, so.
Okay, so I'm gonna have you both raise your right hand and just say how you do at the end. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, back to you, Mr. Chair.
Alrighty. Kyle, if you wouldn't mind.
Absolutely. Is this good enough for audio, or do you need to come closer to a microphone somewhere?
If you would
you don't mind coming in
stand
from
closer,
that tree.
No,
if you
no.
both would come up to the first or second row, it'd be helpful.
The
We
audio
really
doesn't
can't
work.
hear back there.
Yeah?
So my name is Kyle Dragon. I'm the lead regional animal control officer for the Frederick County Sheriff's Office. We now provide animal control services for the town of Sunderland. Just a little background on this. This hearing is before this board following a dog attack that occurred at 184 North Main Street on May 31st, resulting in significant injuries to the dog owner. As a matter of procedure with our agency, when there's a dog attack that is significant in nature, we will refer it to a hearing authority, so it can be heard before a full board. And then that board can make a decision whether to dismiss the complaint, or is it an own dog, or if they feel something should be moved forward. Because at that point, we do feel that there could be a potential for a public safety concern. In this particular case, it was May 31st at about a little before around 1 o'clock p.m. Our agency, via Shelburne Patrol Region Dispatch Center, received notification of a dog attack in progress. At that point in time, we were advised that the owner of the dog had been attacked by the dogs, was injured in the apartment, and was unable to get out at that point in time. Prior to our arrival, the owner was able to self-extricate from the apartment. That individual was transported by ambulance to the hospital where they were treated. Myself and the primary responding officer, who could not be with us tonight, which is Hillary Staliga, went into the apartment to assess the dogs because it was reported they were originally fighting. Upon making contact with the dogs at the door, we found them to be very volatile still. Again, not unheard of. We are entering into their domicile, so we're strangers entering into their apartment. That part I'm not. However, upon securing one of the dogs, the dog that was unsecured immediately turned and attacked the dog that had been secured, which is a little bit concerning for us, given the fact that we were able to secure both dogs. One dog was more severely injured. That one was transported to the emergency hospital in South Deerfield by my coworker. Myself and a state trooper stood by with the other dog until she was able to return. We were then able to extricate that dog from the apartment. There was a third dog in the apartment at the time. That dog was contained in a cage and not involved in any of this. There was also a cat that was in the apartment, along with a parakeet and a bearded dragon. They all checked okay. There was no issues with them. During the assessment of the apartment, we did note that the entrance door was the molding around the door had been chewed away. There was structural damage to the door. Upon our arriving at the apartment, the door had not been properly secured. The door secures very loosely, which is one of the factors that brought this to you. It is an apartment building. There are other apartments in the building. I do not know the occupancy of the other apartments, but there is potential for the dogs to be able to get out. There's also one record that our agency does have from earlier, I believe it was this year, where one of the dogs had actually gone out a second-story window during a thunderstorm while the dog owner was on. No issues occurred. The dog was able to be recovered, was found, was fine. But again, given the behavior of the dogs and the fact the dog has let itself out of the apartment before via unconventional means, we are putting this before your board to hear everything and make a determination that the board should see fit.
So I have a question. The door that you said was loose and, not totally secure, is that the primary entrance in and out?
That is the primary entrance that we use. I believe there may be one other entrance door further down. The apartments seem to run the entire upper length of one side of the building, or at least a good portion of it.
So that doorway, is it first floor, second floor?
Second floor.
All right. Does that entrance pass other apartments?
It opens right into the common hallway.
To a comment for all the apartments? in that
For all the
building?
apartments, at least on that level, there was at least two other doors that we saw that were not tied to this
All
apartment.
right, so you don't know how many apartments are in that building?
I do not know how many
Okay.
are in that building.
Okay. Anything else you want to add, or is that pretty much covered?
Not at this time. I'm more than happy to answer any questions if the board should develop some.
Okay. Dan, do you have anything for Kyle at this point?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Josephine, would you like to come up here and give your side of the story, please?
Josephine Rivera. My dogs did not attack me. My dogs were fighting with each other. I put my hands in their mouth to separate them myself. So it wasn't like an attack towards me. I had my little sister's dog at the time, and she had just gotten on her period the day before. So I had put her in the cage, thinking she's fine, everything's gonna be okay. I didn't expect the two dogs to go at it because of it. I was cleaning, and when I came to, I saw usually they've gotten into rafts with other dogs, never with each other, and other dogs because those dogs try to attack me. And in those type of situations, I separate them fine. So this is why I thought this time I would be able to separate them fine, but that's not what happened, because this was like a whole other situation. Like, it's not anger, it's biological. It's the lady was on her period, and you know, they were reacting towards that. I've never seen them act that way towards that, but they've always just been the boys in the house. I never had a female dog before around them. So that's why that happened. The night that Bougie jumped out the window, I had to pull an 18-hour shift. So Bougie hadn't, and I had just moved in maybe like a week or two before that. Before we moved here, we were living in my car. So it was very different for them, and it was the first time ever for 18 hours that I wasn't around. And it was that big thunderstorm that happened that everybody was warned about, the floods and stuff like that. My dog jumped out the window, yes. He probably didn't realize that he was on the second floor, because we're not used to second floors. But he ended up in the neighbor's shed, you know, and they're not violent at all towards anybody. I walk them 2 or 3 times daily on this main street, and everybody greets them, everybody pets them. You know, it's not as serious as he made it seem. I still have my arm. It's fine. So I don't know, what else would you like to know?
How long have you lived there for?
I've only lived there for literally 4 months. 4 or 5 months. Like, when that happened in June, I literally just moved in. And I've lived in Sunderland before, 3 or 4 years ago. It was in Cliffside. But yeah.
Let's see, the shed was fine. And my wife
Yeah.
found the dog, and I wasn't involved, but she told me all about it. So the dog was kind of scared and hiding in the shed behind the
It
kayaks.
costed me a good $3,000 each visit. So it's like, I'm in debt behind all of this. Trust me, I'm not, you know, but he's doing better now, and now we have a routine. As for the door was busted because of some moving situation that I had, and I'm fixing that. Because the doors are hollow. So I'm getting, Friday I get paid, I'm getting a more solid door. My neighbors love my dogs. She actually helps and takes my dogs out when I'm at work. So it's like, it's not a threat, or you know what I mean. I'm gonna fix the door on Friday. I just literally been broke. Twice Bougie, within the past 5 months, Bougie's gone to the hospital twice, and that costed me $3,000 each time. And when he went behind this, it was just scratches. Like, yeah, but they're good boys. I have them. They're both my service animals. Bougie is my emotional support animal, because I do suffer from PTSD. And Bello is my service dog, because he's more approachable and less, you know, people like him more. So he's trained to get someone if I am in trouble, because I also faint and I have very bad vertigo. So my dogs literally are trained to escape. It don't matter if I buy a brand new door, nothing. They know how to open and unlock doors. I have 2 cages now in the house, so that's been keeping everything good. And my cat is fine and loves Bougie, so I don't know what else you'd like to know.
Okay.
And Mr. Chair, may I just ask,
Please.
through you to Dan, are you the immediate next door
Yes.
abutter?
Yeah, and I think the dog jumped, I don't know, out of the window, I heard the second floor.
Yeah.
I was kind of amazed. But, you were looking for the dog, and
Yeah.
I know my wife was out and back, and I think our little dog actually,
Your
our
little
little
dog
dog
found-
actually went and found him, and it was
Yeah.
all fine, and he came out, and everything was good, so
Mhm.
that's what I heard.
And just to note, if you are the immediate next door abutter, it may be best for you to recuse
Sure.
from this, from voting, and further participation, if you have interest in sharing your perspective. Of course, free to do that as a member of the public, but if you are the immediate next door abutter, I might recommend
Okay.
that you recuse, just to be safe.
Does he mean to sit around?
Typically, if,
Sorry.
sorry, Dan. It's
It's
more of
really
a
happening.
safe than sorry.
Yeah, okay.
Anything else you wanted to bring up, or any questions you have for
No,
Marilyn? Serena?
no, not the time.
Next step is us discussing it, right?
Well, so how come you didn't get the dog's license when you first moved in?
Money. I had to pay $175 each for the letter that the therapist gives you to give to the landlord, and then to also, factor that they're, service dogs. They had to be renewed. And like I said, I moved in to this place from my car, and I was helped for the down payment by a shelter. I'm still working on furniture. Like, I'm just, I didn't have the funds for it.
So I'm gonna start by saying, I'm sorry this happened, just all around. It's probably one of the worst days you've had in a while. You obviously got injured, that sucks. Now you're dealing with the fallout of that, that sucks even more. And just, in general, I'm sorry that happened. I'm sorry this is something you're dealing with. I know, especially going through a lot of stuff, having been homeless, getting into a place, having this all happen, everything, it's all a lot, and I'm sorry. My concern is making sure that whatever we decide does best by you, so that you're safe in your house, does best by your dogs. They're living things that deserve all the freedoms and rights that they deserve, but also does right by your neighbors, your landlords, and also our animal control officers like Kyle, because part of this is that when this kind of thing happens, they have to put their safety on the line to go in and deal with the dogs that you've now escaped your apartment from. So those are all the things we're trying to balance, is how can we do right by all of those parties. And the short answer is no one's ever going to be 100% happy on all of those things, right? We're having to make decisions there. So my big concern is identifying the aspects of the living situation, of the dog's behavioral situation, of the daily being let out situation, things like that, to make sure that things have changed between when this happened and now, or more specifically, have changed when it happened and when we conclude this whole proceedings, such that all the parties are happy that you're now safe in your apartment, your dogs are getting the care they need, your neighbors are safe in their apartment, your neighbors' garages are safe and whatnot. So that's sort of where, at least where I'm coming from, is trying to find the balance between all those things in a way that
So I think my biggest concern, and I love dogs, I have dogs. My biggest concern is if you're out walking your dog, and this incident you're assuming happened because there was a female in heat, what's to say you're not going to come across a female in heat while you're out walking your dogs and your two male dogs get into it again out in public?
I don't take my dogs out both at the same time. I take them out one at a time. And I also take them out now about 3 times a day because I have the time to do so. When I first moved in, I had 2 jobs because I was on the grind, just getting on my feet, getting an apartment, so I was working. And now I work a 3rd shift job. So I come, I have Monday through Thursday, I work 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. And then I have the rest of the day off, Friday, Saturday. So I'm just spending more, I'm having more time with them. And I'm able to wear them out
Yeah.
to where the point where they just don't want to do nothing but go to sleep.
Yeah, no,
So,
and
yeah.
again, it's just, my concern is that if you, and I understand that your dogs that happened in your house, they were,
No, I get it.
you know, going after each other over a female in heat. I'm just concerned, you know, Main Street, you know it, we all know it, right? We obviously are all townspeople. There are a lot of people that walk their dog, and I'm concerned about what will happen if you come across a female in heat while you're out walking your dog. That's my
And
concern.
kind of building that, I see here that at the time of the complaint, both of them are unneutered, is that correct? Are they still unneutered? So that, I guess that's part of my question is that a pair of unneutered dogs is much more likely to fight over a female dog in heat than neutered dogs are. Since they have an issue as unneutered dogs with that, the obvious remedy would be to get them neutered so that they don't have that kind of a inclination towards that kind of fight, or less of one at least. So that would be, you know, part of my consideration there. All right. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the big question we have to answer before we can answer any other questions is the three options you gave us.
Correct. That's correct, Mr. Chair, because if the dog is neither a dangerous dog nor a nuisance dog, there's not much legally that we can do. We could, of course, send a letter with any recommendations memorializing our conversation, but it wouldn't be a binding order under the statute. In order to issue a binding order, we have to find that the dog, in this case two dogs, meets the definition of either nuisance dog or dangerous dog.
So my 2 cents, I don't think that it raises the dangerous dog level because of the circumstantial things, particularly the female dog in the heat, and that it was,
And she's no longer with me.
yeah, but also that they weren't attacking you per se as much as you got in the middle of dogs fighting, which believe me, I've gotten in the middle of dogs fighting before also, and I've left with a couple of nips
My
myself.
sister talks about
Which, again, not to say that doesn't make them undangerous, but I don't think that makes them a dangerous dog per se. Nuisance dog, I'm having a little harder because the definition of that is a lot more constricted and kind of is a little gray on, if this was somebody else that got hurt, I think it'd be a little bit less gray. Because it's in her own house and she got hurt, it's a little bit more gray there.
And if I may, Mr. Chair, you know, the statute doesn't distinguish between the location and whether it's the owner or a third party.
Okay.
The three options for the nuisance dog, if we take dangerous dog out of the picture, the three options for the nuisance dog are either excessive barking, that's a source of annoyance to a sick person residing in the vicinity. 2, excessive barking that a reasonable person would find is disruptive to their quiet and peaceful enjoyment. And you know, I don't know from the current facts we're at either of those, right? I'm
Yeah,
not hearing
barking
anything
doesn't
about
appear to
neighbors,
be an issue.
right?
Mhm.
So it seems as if that we're at the third and final prong, which is has threatened or attacked livestock, a domestic animal, or a person, but such threat or attack was not grossly disproportionate reaction under the circumstances. And so you could find that applies here, find that it's a nuisance dog and issue an order, or you could find that that third prong has not been met based on the fact we've heard and dismiss the complaint. And again, that is, has threatened or attacked a person, skipping over the livestock, has threatened or attacked a person, but such threat or attack was not grossly disproportionate under the circumstances.
So it's proportionate,
Yeah,
in my
grossly,
opinion.
grossly is the hard part I'm having with that word there because, you know, again, like if they were fighting and then one of the dogs turned and chased her a quarter mile down the road, like nipping at her ankles, that's a different situation. This was,
And also, it wasn't that I couldn't get out the apartment. It's just they were my babies. And I couldn't stand, I was throwing mop buckets. I was, you know what, I couldn't stand watching, I couldn't stand leaving them alone. So it wasn't that I was trapped in my apartment and I couldn't get out and it was so unsafe. That's not. I was literally just on the phone. I just didn't want to. I thought they were going to kill each other, but they didn't. So yeah.
I just can't get past having a concern about meeting up with the female in heat out walking.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there are a lot of dogs in heat all over the place. That's the thing that happens regularly. And just in general, you never know what a dog is capable of until they do something. Once they do, you know what they're capable of. So they're capable of, at the minimum, getting into a fight that's vicious enough that people can get hurt during that fight.
And other livestock.
And other livestock.
Yeah, because both the dogs are livestock, right?
Yeah.
One dog hurt the other.
So here's where, and just spitballing, this is what my brain is thinking. I would say, I would like to see us say yes to nuisance with very minimal enforcement behind that. One, proof that the door has been upgraded in a sufficient amount of time, let's say 3 months or something like that, so that we know that we'll figure it out. But just some period of time where we know that the chance of the dog being able to get out through that door, because that's a specific concern in the complaint, I would like to see that remedied. Whether that's by the tenants or by the landlord, whatever, that's not here or there. The second part is the concern about them attacking when there's a female dog in heat. And there's not a lot to be done by that other than, again, neutering, which is what I had brought up.
Muzzling when they're out walking?
Muzzling is another option. And so it sounded like you were against the neutering. I got the distinct impression that you were not in favor of neutering the dogs. Would you like to expand on that at all, or just?
I'm not doing that. First of all, I don't got like $3,000 each, and that comes with other health issues that I don't have money for. So no, I'm not neutering my dogs, and they're very obedient. I walk all the time with these dogs, and that's when I'm going to work, like the weekdays. Other than that, we're hiking on Sugarloaf, where like my dogs literally play with wild fox in the woods.
You told us you never take them both out together, and now you're telling me that you're out hiking with both of them on Sugarloaf.
Yeah, not at the same time. I don't ever take them out at the same time because I have an injured arm. There's metal in my arm, so I only have one hand. You guys go ahead and do whatever you want to do.
We want to do
I will
something.
definitely fight whatever I have to fight. Because you're not going to sit here
do something that
put
works, but
a label on my dogs like nuisance. Like why?
because of injury and potential. So you can't, if you're telling us this happened because there was a female dog in heat in your apartment.
That's all right. Now listen to me. Honestly, I have to be to work in an hour. So let's.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my recommendation is going to be the door and both of them neutered within 3 months.
You're going to think what you want to think regardless. You're going to do what you want to do regardless.
Excuse me.
So.
I would appreciate you only speaking when we call on you, okay? Thank you.
Yeah.
Does that sound good to you?
Send me whatever you want in the mail. Thank you.
I really want to see them muzzled when they're out.
Okay, we can add that. That's fine.
Oh, I just have this, again, I'm not sure that because she, if she's taking him out hiking on Sugarloaf or on wherever, can she come across a female in heat and have this same situation on Sugarloaf, on Main Street, we don't have to have the dogs put down, anything else. I do not believe that needs to be done. But I think something needs to be done you don't know what you're going to come across.
Yeah.
And if she's only been living here for 4 months, she might not have come, you know,
And I keep coming back to you give the dog the benefit of the doubt until they show you who they are. The dogs have shown that they have the capacity, not just the capacity, but have acted on that capacity, and we have to take that as the bounds of what the dog is
and they
capable of and
are
act on that.
probably absolutely fine, but if their trigger is the female in heat,
Yep.
we all have a trigger, right?
No, I agree.
I don't know, that's my thought, my opinion. Is that excessive in your opinion? Is it?
The statute for nuisance gives you broad discretion. So as long as and I'll draft an order afterwards for Becky to review and for the chair to sign and send off. But as long as we have facts to support the specific requirements that we're imposing, then we have a defense.
Now, can animal control weigh in and act?
Absolutely, if you'd like to
Do
hear from
you
animal
think-
control.
Yeah, absolutely. So, based on circumstances, I would not support a dangerousness finding. I don't believe this level rate rose to a nuisance finding. I believe would be supported in this case. I mean, the timing between when we got on scene, we're talking 15 to 20 minutes between the time she extricated to the time we made contact with these dogs. So there was a decompression period for these dogs before we made contact. The other thing to throw out there, I know it's in the report and the letter, is that I know you touched on they weren't licensed. They also were not currently rabies vaccinated when we brought them in. They've since been rabies vaccinated and licensed, but the licensing aside, while it's a state requirement, that the rabies vaccine is what really hangs me up, because rabies is such a horrible.
Yeah, and the rabies turns a dog bite into a whole.
And especially with her own testimony that the dogs play with wild foxes when they're on Sugarloaf.
Yeah.
That's
That's
concerning to
It
me.
didn't honestly make me feel better when she said that they're like, they state experts and nothing we do will ever get them to stop escaping. Like, that doesn't make it better.
And if the board would
yeah.
like to see, I was just looking and I noticed that you have some photos, but the second photo she does, I can show you interior photos that were taken if you would like to see the door, if that would help with your decision making.
I think at this point I'm happy with your testimony on the door needing to be replaced. She already said that she was working on that, so all we're doing is holding her to what she said she was doing in that
Right.
case. So that for me is sort of a done deal. You know,
Yeah, but
it's a safety thing.
90 days is, it's,
And I'll just mention with the door, we're talking, this incident was on May 31st, and we're already almost to July 31st, so we're talking almost 2 months.
right, so it
So, yeah,
needs to be a
yeah.
30 days.
Yeah, I'm fine. The neutering, give a little more time because that takes some stuff. The door,
I would wholeheartedly agree with that. It's hard to get into veterinarians. The last hearing we did, we said that they had to have an appointment within 3 weeks and then neutered within 90 days. Because some veterinarians, it's such a large span to be able to get in with a veterinarian.
so you can make the time different on different ends. For the door,
Yeah.
I'm fine with it being, 3 weeks, something like that?
30, by September 1st.
May I just, Mr. Chair, through you, if it's okay, to just ask a clarification question of the officer? You mentioned the decompression period. I just want to make sure I have my notes correct for when we write this up. So your point in the decompression period, correct me if I'm wrong, was that there was ample time for the dogs to cool down
That is correct.
during the period in which you were alerted and when you arrived, and the dogs, in fact, had not cooled down at all.
They immediately rehydrated as soon as we entered. So the call came in at 1 o'clock. I think she was transported by ambulance around 1:20ish. I would have to get the call logs but there was a period of time she extricated, there was a period of time, and then after she had left by ambulance, myself, my coworker, and the state trooper went up to make entry to check the dogs because we knew there was injuries to the dogs. We weren't sure how severe they were. Quite honestly, the dogs were removed, one because of the second one that was attacked in our presence, and due to the structural concerns of the entryway of the door, we chose to remove the aggressor dog, which is not Bougie Boy, it's the other one, Bello. That was the more aggressive one when we were there.
Is there assistance for neutering, I mean, financial, is there any?
So assistance, as far as that would go, the Mass Animal Fund does have some voucher systems. It's they're very strict on what they're issuing vouchers for right now because all their stuff is based on tax donations and they didn't get as much as they were hoping to this time around. So it would be a form she had to fill out. We'd have to make a case to the state to see if they would approve it. There is also low cost spay neuter options around. I know, for example, both of them are pit bull type dogs. I know Dakin Humane Society was doing some sort of promo for a while for that type of dog. They may still be. So there's programs around that we can probably help her find a program for a lesser cost.
How
than-
old were these dogs?
I think,
I
trying to remember. Less than 5, both of them, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay. So 30 days for proof of appointment to have neutered, 90 days for proof of successful completion of neutering, and 30 days for proof of door being fixed. And what do we want to do about muzzle? Like, is it possible now?
Well,
Something like
again, I'm gonna refer to somebody who knows way more about dogs than I will ever know. Muzzle, in this situation with what you saw experienced, would muzzling have stopped the injuries? Were the injuries scratch injuries? Were the injuries bite injuries?
No, these were very clearly bite injuries.
So,
And when Bello grabbed the second dog, it was with his mouth. He wasn't scratching it.
okay,
Yeah.
that's,
But I
it's
mean-
hard sometimes to tell from pictures.
Absolutely, but I mean,
whether they're bites or scratches.
but to correct that, the dogs were inside their own domicile at that point in time, so unless you're gonna require dogs to wear muzzles 24 hours a day, then if they're inside, this issue would not have been alleviated.
Yeah, but
But if it was outside
the
on North
random
Main
dog on the
Street
street,
or
yeah.
on Sugarloaf Melon or something like that,
Yeah.
then it's that.
That's, we can't control what happens inside anyone's houses, right? But I want to make sure when they're out, they're not a nuisance or potentially able to harm someone else. You know, I mean, you have multiple dogs, I have multiple dogs. If my 2 dogs have the little rift and get into it with each other, that's in my house, that's,
and your dogs weigh like 15 pounds.
well, I know, but it's a different story. But, you know what I
It can
mean?
be
There-
really
Yeah, but, you know, I would think that I would stop, you know, I wouldn't take them to a dog park. I would, you know what I mean, if they were,
Yeah, no,
you know,
I-
and again, I just feel like she stated there was a clear trigger to this. And the trigger was a female dog in heat. And, you know, you can't eliminate, she could eliminate that trigger from inside her home, but she can't eliminate that trigger out on Mount Sugarloaf, out on Main Street. You know, and again, I hope that was the trigger in something that she can eliminate from her home and make her home and her animals safe by eliminating, you know, not allowing a dog in heat into her home. But she can't control that trigger anywhere else.
yeah, no, I agree.
And just to clarify for the record, just looking at my coworker's report, she was dispatched at 12:59 p.m. to this address. 2 minutes prior to arriving on scene, she was informed that the victim had been self-extricated. She arrived at 1:11. I arrived on scene at 1:32 because I was coming in from off duty to back her up. And then we had the second dog, she transported the second dog at 148. So we're talking between 110 to 140, there was no people interacting with those two dogs in that apartment, approximately.
Nadine, you see the dogs, I'm sure. 'cause you-
I haven't seen a lot of them, I haven't heard a lot. I think I've seen her walk a single dog up and down.
Yeah.
But I haven't, no, I've never come across her walking myself
Yeah.
with this, but,
Yeah,
but I haven't heard a lot of noise or anything like that either, so.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I've
no, I.
Definitely seen her walking.
Yeah.
So, is, do you want to give 30 days on the muzzle also? Do you want to say 15 days? Because it's a easier,
I mean,
easier thing to do?
I don't even know how expensive a dog muzzle is for,
I've gotten one for my little dog. It was like $12 for a little one. So I'm imagining a bigger one would be more than $25.
Right. And I mean, and I would suggest that if we're going to do it, I would do a basket style muzzle, so dog can breathe, dog can pant, dog can drink water. There is going to have to be an acclimation period for that dog. It is going to require some work on her behalf to train that dog to that muzzle, to realize that it can wear the muzzle's not going to hurt it. There's lots of YouTube tutorials on how to basket train a muzzle.
Okay.
But I think if the board's going to do that, my recommendation would be that to purchase by X date and be trained in compliance by a follow-up date.
So maybe we do 30 days on the get and then 90 days on the training. Becky?
So I'm just wondering after the dogs are neutered, we're suspecting that should eliminate the need for a muzzle, but we don't know.
It's hard to tell that though. It's hard. My assumption is, with my very limited knowledge of dogs, I mean I've had them for a long time, but I'm not an expert on dogs. Is that that the neutering will alleviate a lot of the aggression and also just like the cooped up energy that comes with being a neutered dog. So I do kind of agree that probably the question is, what happens if we don't do anything else and another thing happens, you know?
Well, you definitely want to do the muzzling ahead of, because if she can't get them neutered for 2 months or more, that would help during that period. But I don't know, it seems like there might be a way for the muzzling to check on it and maybe have that not forever, but I don't know what kind of test you could do, but it seems like, because that's going to be the one I think that the dogs are going to hate the most.
Okay. We could do something like muzzle for 6 months pending no further complaints or something like that. And then if we end up having other issues like down the line, that can get extended. But if everything goes well and she's compliant with the other items, then in 6 months that could expire.
After the neutering, yeah, I was hoping to hear from
So all I'll say is with the muzzling, I think 2 weeks to acquire a muzzle would be more than adequate. We do muzzle training all the time at the shelter with aggressive dogs. And once you have the muzzle, 2 to 3 weeks is more than adequate with proper training to get a dog. So within 30 days, she should be able to have those dogs muzzled.
yeah, I just looked on Chewy, muzzle for large dog, and again, I know, all I can do is tell you what Chewy said. They're anywhere from $17 to $35.
Right, depending what you want to get. And I mean, and the board always has the option too in your orders to write in that provide everything is met within the timelines. Because if it's not, then we go into violations, which we don't want to go down. Then she has an option with a year or whatever time period you want to bring it back before the board for reconsideration. You can always write that into your order too.
Can I ask a question about the neutering? Have you seen is it a huge change of behavior that this is very unlikely if both dogs are neutered?
I haven't. I mean, with the shelter, we spay and neuter everything before it leaves.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that personally.
Oh, okay.
I know some dogs. I mean, you get the one-off that it could have a behavioral change, but I haven't seen that personally on the majority of dogs. I don't see, and the way this, if you take the neutering by statute, the way it's written in 157, she has the option to go to a veterinarian and have a veterinarian provide a certified letter citing that this dog is not medically sound to be altered.
Yeah, we had that with
Yeah.
one of our previous dog hearings.
So I guess I'm gonna ask you this question, Kyle. What would your recommendation be for what we impose?
My recommendation would be, I would say the dog should be neutered.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I believe that's probably what stemmed all of this, is all the hormones in that apartment. I'm not opposed, the door needs to be replaced. As she mentioned, it's hollow core, the only thing from the bottom third of the door is just the outer wall that faces out. And that, I think muzzling when in public, I mean, I don't think that's a horrible idea. It sounds like one-off, like, this is our only negative interaction with these dogs, is this incident. We didn't know she had Bello before this incident. We knew of Bougie Boy. He came to the shelter once when she was at Cliffside, and again, when he came up on our radar when he jumped out the second story window and ended up in your shed.
Yeah.
But we've never had a negative interaction with these dogs. So the muzzling, I'm not opposed to the muzzling given what happened, but I will leave that to the board's determination if they feel like that should be applied or not. But I would definitely say the door and the neutering should happen, because I think that would alleviate a lot of these problems. And regardless of whatever's mentioned here, or whatever's decided upon, she still has her 10-day appeal window to district court to have this reviewed if she so chooses to go that route. And the clerk magistrate has his opportunity to overrule or make changes if he so chose.
The period of time I'm most concerned about is now until the neutering. So maybe we make the muzzling a requirement until the muzzling expires when we have proof of neutering, and see where that goes. Because the only thing we have to go on in terms of them being the nuisance dogs is the event that happened, which all parties seem to agree was motivated by the hormones in the room. Lots of hormones running around, and that, I don't know this for sure, but I think things may have gone differently had they already been neutered at that point. Things may have not been as aggressive, things may have been differently. Again, that's opinion, that's not based on any kind of knowledge in my life. Would you be amenable to that, to having the neutering, or to the muzzling go till the neutering?
Yeah.
Okay. So just to make sure we're all on the same page, muzzling from now until neutering with a 2-week period of time to get the muzzle, and then another 2-week period of time to train on the muzzle before the required.
And muzzling when in public.
Yeah, in public, yeah, in public. And then 30 days to schedule an appointment for neutering, 90 days for getting it done, and then on the door, what did we say for time on the door?
30 days.
30 days on the door.
Yeah, I mean, and as far as, you know, if she's taking them out in the backyard to relieve themselves one at a time, she doesn't need to muzzle them, because that's not on public. You know, she's not on the sidewalk, she's not on Sugarloaf,
Yeah.
you know, she doesn't have to muzzle them to go out in the backyard for.
Would muzzling outside of home?
Yeah, off property.
Off
On
property.
property?
Okay.
And just a couple of clarifying questions, if I may. Let me read it back, confirm, and then we can talk about the facts, and that will most important to you, because we'll have to have both of those in the decision. So first, we've got the dogs shall be neutered, 30 days to schedule the appointment, 90 days to complete the neutering. Second is the door needs to be replaced, that's within 30 days, and I'm going to say door needs to be replaced or fully secured. Is that, I don't know if it needs a full new door, but what I
It does.
understand, it does, okay. Then door needs to be
There's only
replaced.
half the door left.
Well, that would indicate a new door if you needed. So, and then muzzling off property until proof of neutering provided to town. And Mr. Chair, were you saying that that condition would not take effect for a period of 2 weeks? The vote that you take tonight even though it will take us a couple of days to write and mail out the decision, the vote that you take tonight is effective tonight. So if you order, the dogs cannot be muzzled, must be muzzled off property until proof of neutering is provided, that can take effect tonight, or it could take effect in,
Well,
You
didn't he
said
say
2
he was
weeks.
gonna give her 2 weeks to
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
that, okay?
purchase
Just
the
'cause-
muzzle, and then another 2 weeks to muzzle train?
So
30
during
days
that,
to
just to clarify, during that time, the dogs would be in compliance with your order if they were walking on Main Street without a muzzle. within
Well,
the
no, they
Main Street.
should have to remain on property. She shouldn't be able to take them,
So that's what I want to clarify, so.
right?
So,
She shouldn't be able to take them out hiking on Sugarloaf. She should,
yeah,
you know, until,
If she's taking them one by one, they still can't go out, right?
yeah. I mean, again, you said it takes a couple weeks to muzzle train. Now, is that a couple weeks of like showing the muzzle to the dog and giving it a treat, showing the muzzle to the dog and giving it a treat, putting it on his face, showing the muzzle dog putting it on his face, putting it on?
So how we normally do it is that, you know, you put tape or something on the bottom of it, drop a treat in it, have the dog take the treat out of the bag. So it gets used to putting its face in the muzzle. And then after you do that, you desensitize the dog to put its face in the muzzle, and then after that, you can start putting the muzzle on the dog for short periods of time, and then progressively longer, and eventually the dog gets to the point where it's like, oh, just wear my muzzle, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, again,
So the question is in that interim period, Mr. Chair, during the training and the procurement of the muzzle, do you want to have any more detail in the rule?
probably should be restricted to the property until.
I mean, I'm hesitant on that just because it's summer and they're dogs and they've got a lot of energy, and not being able to take them anywhere, it just makes it, it's gonna make it worse. And in fact, I'm more concerned that they're gonna be cooped up for the next 3 weeks and they're gonna attack a UPS guy or something like that because of that lack of being able to get out, especially if we're also still talking about pre-neutering energy. But, I mean, that's a hard one.
But if you're out hiking with your dogs on Sugarloaf,
Yeah.
and you've got a male, an intact male, you're out hiking with your intact male, she's out hiking with her intact male, and Dan comes up with his female in heat. Are you concerned that there will be an issue?
No, I mean, I am concerned. I'm just trying to judge this much concern, this much probability versus guarantee of the dogs having a crappy summer otherwise. And I'm trying, again, just as I said at the beginning, I'm trying to balance all of these different things and do what's right for the dogs as well, do what's right for her, do
No,
what's right for the
I
town.
understand, I just,
So, it looks like a harness, or a muzzle on Chewy online is about $20.
like I said, I
That
just
should
looked,
be doable for anybody to be able to scrape together $20 to get a muzzle. It can be
Two muzzles.
two muzzles, thank you, two muzzles, $40 for two muzzles. They could be at her house in a week at the latest, and then she'd have some time to work on them. So we could say that she has to keep them in until they're ready, until they're into their muzzle training enough to have the muzzle training be on and outside, which also motivates her to like get through that process faster rather than taking her time on that. Does that make you?
yeah, like I said, I don't want the dogs to be miserable, I really don't, I just want the public to be safe.
Yeah, no, that is of course our number one concern the whole time. So okay, so how about muzzle purchased in 1 week, 2 weeks to muzzle train. During that time, she has to keep her dogs on property in the backyard or whatnot. With the sorry.
I just have one question,
Yeah.
and honestly, Dan might be able to answer it better. How big is the property behind her? What does she actually have for property?
It's really small. She's got a strip of grass about 20 feet wide, maybe.
Yeah.
10 feet wide, the very back, and that's it. It's all paved. Otherwise, it's 100% paved.
So,
Seeing she can run, I mean, they can run out of the field, there's nothing growing in the field, so that potato field's
I
wide
just
open.
want to make sure that she has a place,
Yeah.
she always walks along North Main Street. I want to make sure that when we say she keep them on the property, that she has a place on the property she can at least get them out
There's
of.
not a lot. I don't think she goes on, she may go, but there's no crops growing, so
But
it's
it's
an easy
not
thing
part
to
of
do.
the property.
It's
that-
not, but it's not part of the property.
and if I'm remembering, these are the,
It's like a
It's apartment.
solid
It's a little
house
barn,
that
they-
goes straight back, fills up the whole lot.
that
And-
one, okay, yes, I
And
know
it
that, okay,
says
yes.
like 1, 2, 3, I think 3 apartments
I think downstairs is commercial.
are upstairs and then downstairs or something.
And the backyard of that is shared with other tenants in the building?
Yeah, so
Yes.
there was a parking lot basically,
Okay.
and then a thin 10-foot strip of grass.
So that's part of it, that there really isn't anywhere that's not public, but not around other people.
Right,
and
but the
other-
fields and
it's-
stuff wouldn't be
Yeah.
public, right?
Yeah.
But
They're,
it's they're people's property. I'm just concerned if she runs into somebody else's dog out.
And they've discouraged dogs, you know, the farmer doesn't like.
well, yeah. I want something so that the dogs have some type of outlet, but I don't want,
If I may, and I'll let the attorney weigh in on this, just for, is it outside of the scope or concern for the town to put in the orders that during this period of time, at any time you take the dogs off the property, put the onus on her in writing to take steps to alleviate any issues she may have with other dogs? And then at that point, if there's another issue on Sugarloaf or something, it is completely on her if something happens.
I like where you're going with that, and that was sort of, I mean, the onus is already on every dog owner to maintain control of your dog when they're
Right.
outside your house, so that sort of already is the case. But if
Exactly.
you put it in part of the order, it also means that if she violates that,
And she did violate.
she's not just in violation of Massachusetts general law, she's also in violation of a specific order, and that brings us back to the table to talk about next steps. So I kind of like where you're going with on that. So here's where I'm thinking in my head. She moved in there sometime in like April, if my math is correct. In the first couple of weeks or month or so, while she was working 2 jobs, working 18-hour shifts, and hadn't already set up time for someone to come and like let her dogs out, the dog got so crazy it dropped out the window because it was, you know. And then shortly thereafter, she was watching a dog for somebody else that was in heat. This happened. All of this was during the very, I have dogs. I know that it takes a dog months to get used to a new place, to get used to a new situation. When you get a dog from the shelter, like, you know that dog is going to take a long time to acclimate. I would be much more concerned if she lived there for 5 years and this happened out of the blue. Then I'm wondering what happened with the dog. Did something change? Is there a behavioral issue that's coming up? Is something else? What's going on there? And also, since May 29th or whatever it was, to now, there haven't been any complaints. There haven't been any other issues. We have one of our neighbors sitting right here, and he has not said that there have been, oh yeah, we've had lots of trouble with that dog, we've had lots of issues. That's part of my consideration also is what is the impact on the community right there. I live across town, I have less of an impact than Dan does. I don't know, it's a real hard one to figure out. This could potentially, they could live there 15, no, they're big dogs, they could live there 10 years and have no problems at all, or they could attack some small dog tomorrow, we don't know. And that's, I think, where you're getting at, is that we don't know, we're sort of, in some ways, required to go on the side of protecting people for the things that we don't know than otherwise. So.
I was just curious, Kyle, why did you not want to recommend muzzling?
No, so muzzling. So I don't know if the muzzling is the root. So obviously, I think the root of the issue was the intact female dog in the apartment, all the hormones in the apartment at that point in time, and that's what stemmed the issue that we saw here. Muzzling overall, I think once we remove those hormones, like I said, our agency has never had any other issues with these dogs. We never had any complaints about these dogs. She says she regularly walks them. Dan has mentioned he's seen them being walked by her. If she's walking on Sugarloaf, wherever else, we get calls all the time from people complaining about dogs on Sugarloaf, and we've never heard about these dogs. So the muzzling, I think the muzzling order until such time they're neutered, if we were thinking that the hormones, which are what caused all this, then I think that would be perfectly reasonable. If you want to keep the muzzling moving after that, then that's reasonable too. I mean, I'm not opposed to muzzling. Muzzling's great. It's one of my dogs is muzzle trained for certain situations, and yeah, it's like, yeah.
So one of the other concerns is also that whatever order we give, I want to give that order the best chance of being followed and having a good relationship with the member of the public and their dogs, and making sure that we don't put something in front of her that she looks at and just goes, there's no way, I'm not going to do any of that. And I feel like the door and the neutering are both like a lot of bang for your buck. Like it takes some effort and some money on her part. It's going to take some work on her part to meet those, but that's what's solving the big problem is those two big things, primarily the neutering. On the muzzling, that is going to be a lot of work on her part. That is going to be something that has to take a lot of patience and time and training that she sounds stressed and doesn't sound like she necessarily has to do, and is going to be, she's going to do it and complete it like right before the neutering happens. And so will she ever actually get to see the fruits of those labors or not, or will it just be all this struggle and hassle and frustration, and then she never actually walks her dog with them because she got them neutered at that point? I'm just trying to figure out a way where we can, again, do something that's going to get followed, do something that's going to actually result in us having a satisfactory thing. I don't want to have to drag her back in here 3 months from now because nothing has happened.
Well,
that's the last thing I want to happen.
So I'll just point out that it won't come back before this board if it for that particular reason. If any violation of a dog order, regardless of whether nuisance or dangerous, carries the same weight. So basically, there's a $500 fine that can be applied. The dogs are subject to seizure. If the dogs are seized, she then has 7 days to petition this hearing authority, the select board, to get those dogs back. Mm-hmm. So that would be really the only, minus another complete separate incident happening, that we then spiral in, but at that point would probably be a violation of the order anyways. So to come back before this board again, it would probably be for a petition to get her dogs back.
Okay. So I see there being two, on this last point here of the muzzling, I think there being two paths that would make me happy or not happy, would satisfy me in this case. One would be the muzzling until proof of neutering. Like the order says this, the day you drop off the letter from the vet that says that you neuter your dogs, that part of the thing is now complete. Or we put language in the order that, as you said, puts the onus, somebody said, puts the onus on her to keep the dogs away from other dogs in public, warn people who are walking down the street opposite her, I have a dog that's not great with other dogs, or something along those lines, so that, again, she's doing the due diligence to prevent interactions with people in the public. Those are sort of the two directions I think we can go in there. I don't think we, for my part, can do just nothing in this case. We need to do something in the next 30 to 90 days before the neutering. And I think those.
And we have to also anticipate that she's got service animals. She may find a vet that says these dogs are not eligible to be neutered.
Which is also partially why I would like to tie the muzzling to the neutering, because if that's the case, well, the muzzling just continues indefinitely until she either gets neutered or nothing. That's what the order is. And she can fight that order, as you said. She can argue that order, but that would cover us on both sides and also give her the incentive to have the neutering done, so she doesn't have to continue to muzzle her dogs for the rest of their lives.
And if I may, Mr. Chair, so at present, we've got 3 items in the kind of draft here. The dogs shall be neutered on this time frame that was mentioned. The door needs to be replaced in the time frame that was mentioned. And the muzzling off property until proof of neutering is provided to town. And so the question is there a grace period before when the muzzling needs to begin? I think we were sort of discussing maybe there was an alternative approach, as you were saying, about keeping a certain amount of distance from any other dog or issuing a verbal warning prior to passing on the sidewalk. But at present, I have this that the dogs must be neutered. So if we could, at your choice, make it neutering or muzzling. And which one is it that you would like?
So, I want the dog neutered,
Okay.
because there are two concerns here. There's
Yep.
the public concern, and there's also this poor woman being attacked in her
Yep.
house again. And I can only solve one of them, but with the muzzling. We're not gonna ask her to muzzle her dogs 24/7 in
Yep,
their house all
of
the
course.
time. That's not gonna happen.
Yep.
And again, I'm concerned about the UPS driver. I'm concerned about their neighbors that live in other apartments there, in their common hallway, in their backyard, all those things. Long term, I would like to see the dogs neutered, because I think that's the best thing for them and for everybody involved. So I would rather not explicitly give that as an option. That becomes the default option if she chooses to get a note from a vet. That becomes the default option in that case. And then in terms of now until, so maybe we do a hybrid of the two things I said before. For the next 3 weeks, she has 3 weeks, a week to get the muzzle and 2 weeks to train on it. The next 3 weeks, the onus is on her to be extra vigilant, to warn people that she's crossing on the street, that she has dogs to cross the street if there's other dogs walking, just in general that. Of course, keeping the dogs on leash, I'm assuming and hoping that she currently is, but I would like you to put that in there just to make sure. And then when she has proof that she's had the neutering done, that will all expire. The whole thing will expire, and we'll just leave it open-ended like that. There is no other expiration date for that order. It's upon proof of neutering.
Excellent.
Anything
Okay,
else,
and,
Crystal, on that? That sounds good to you? Okay.
and Mr. Chair, I may suggest using some of the language from the statute for, as I say, for dangerous dog. Of course, that's not the bucket we're in, but the statute sort of uses some specific terms, which I think would be appropriate to incorporate here, and I just want to read them to confirm that they would work for the board. When it comes to the neutering, the language is that the dog be altered so it is unable to reproduce unless its owner or keeper provides evidence that a veterinarian is of the opinion the dog is unfit for alterations because of a medical condition.
Okay.
So that would be the language on that.
Yep.
And then on the muzzling, the language would be that when removed from the premises of the owner or keeper, the dog shall be securely and humanely muzzled and restrained with a chain or other tethering device having a minimum tensile strength of 300 pounds and not exceeding 3 feet in length. And I asked also for the animal control officer if that language would be appropriate, or if, given your specific knowledge of the dogs, you would have different figures.
I don't, given our knowledge of the dogs, I mean, the 3-foot leash, I mean, you're talking a leash that long. I don't see why there'd be no issue going up to a 6-foot leash to let the dog get a little bit, but it has to be a static leash, not a flexi leash that extends out 25, 30 feet. Like, so you can keep physical control of that dog.
And we use the wording "and maintain control of the dog at all times" somewhere in there.
Sure.
And I know that's the wording that's in the Massachusetts law. But I intentionally want that to be part of the order, so that. Yeah. Thank you.
Great.
Was there any other chunks you want to read out?
No. Before we vote, though, I do want to also note, because if this does get appealed, a key part of the clerk magistrate's review are what facts you relied on. So I've written down a couple of facts here. I'd like to read them out and see if there's any that I left out before you take a vote. So these are in no particular order, but there have been no incidents since May 31st. There have been no calls prior about Bougie Boy or Bello. We understand the dogs are regularly walked.
The one call where the dog
We've
got
had,
forward.
there's Bougie Boy's been involved in 2 previous calls. At the one point, I don't have specific dates, but when she was living at Cliffside, he got loose and ended up at our shelter. And then when he jumped out the 2nd-story window during the thunderstorm.
Thank you. So I'll be more specific. There have been no calls involving both dogs together, but there have been prior calls about canine number 1, Bougie Boy.
Yes.
The dog owner testified that there was a female in heat in the apartment, and that caused the dogs to fight. And other facts that were important to you.
The poor condition of the front door.
Yeah, the poor
Or
condition.
the access
Yeah.
to the,
And I would also add in the owner's testimony that the dogs are prone to getting out.
Including the dog escaping from the second floor.
Yeah.
window.
Thank you. Anything else that we could shed? Kyle, is there anything else that you think is a pertinent fact that we should
The
include?
only other pertinent facts I would put in, at the time of the event, neither dog was licensed, neither dog was vaccinated against rabies.
Yeah. And if you didn't already, please refer to them as unusual meals, because that's also a relevant fact.
And if I may, just through you, Mr. Chair, ask another question of the officer. I know that there was that previous incident with Bougie Boy, or 2 previous calls, and but there were not hearings on either of those.
That's
so
correct.
they didn't result in an order to vaccinate.
That's correct. One was just a stray, and the other one was just a lost dog.
Great, thank you. Just to make sure I understood.
Yeah.
And there was no aggression or violence or any of that in any
No,
of
no,
those
no
situations?
integration or any kind of weapons.
That's.
And if, as I know you guys have the photos, if you guys choose to use it, you should have photos of injuries from the bites in that report.
Yeah. Yes.
Then,
Nope,
sure.
go ahead.
No, just to clarify, the previous calls did not involve aggression. Those
No,
were-
no aggression noted on these calls.
I'm happy to add more facts, but I think we.
Nope, I think that those are the big important ones. Everything else is just what we're discussing. Are we good to vote at this point, or is there anything else procedurally that we need to do?
No, if you wouldn't mind, Mr. Chair, summarizing your overall vote that you find the dog, not to put words in your mouth, but based on my understanding, you find both canines, Bougie Boy and Bello, to be nuisance dogs, and then to restate the conditions.
Wonderful. So I would at this time entertain a motion to find the 2 dogs, Bougie Boy and Bello, to be nuisance dogs, and to hereby order the 3 points. 1, the repair of the front door, replacement of the front door within 30 days. 2, neutering of the dogs scheduled within 30 days, completed within 90 days. And 3, the muzzling of the dogs while off premises, leading from now until the proof of neutering has been supplied to the town, with a 3-week grace period for her to get that done, during which time she's required to take extra precautions to inform passerbys that she has dogs that are not friendly.
And before you vote, if I may clarify, Mr. Chair, are you still intending to include the 1-week, 2-week split within that 3-week grace period?
I don't think we need proof from her that she's gotten the muzzle within a week. I think as long as within 3 weeks she's gotten it and done it. And if she takes 2 weeks to do it, then she's got less time to train the dog. That's
Sure,
on her.
sure.
You know, that's her call.
Yep.
But either way, or just then she can't take her dog out in public anymore after the 3 weeks. Yeah.
And the other one I noted is keeping the dog off on leash.
And
on
keep, yes,
premises.
and keeping the dog.
6 foot static
6
leash
foot static leash, yes. Thank you.
for a total of 5 items.
5 items, thank you.
so moved.
All right, we have a motion seconded. We have a motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 2-0. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Kyle. We appreciate you coming. We appreciate taking the time to be here, and also I've had a chance to say that welcome on board. Thank you for being our dog officer now.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
There's 3 of us. You see me and there's 2 others, so.
Well, when you
We'll
talk to them,
flow
thank you
through.
as well.
Have a great evening.
You as well, thank you.
Bye, bye.
All right. Welcome back, Dan. You are out of the purgatory. You get to come back out of the little penalty box. All right. Where is my agenda? Too many things. All right. Next up is agricultural preservation. No, sorry. I'm sorry. That's the one. Presentation by Board of Health on proposed new kratom policy. All right.
Dan has been waiting patiently.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your patience.
I guess you know that I'm Dan Olanek, and I'm one of the members of the Board of Health. When I went to, the chairman suggested that I go and witness one of our regional nurses do a Stop the Bleed seminar for Warner Farm. And at that time, while she was setting up, Megan Tudrin gave me a bunch of information about the regulations that Greenfield and Deerfield put in motion for regulating a product that contains kratom. She said one of the reasons that Greenfield decided to do something was they ended up having someone go to the emergency room at the hospital with symptoms that looked like an overdose, and they didn't know what it was. And the only reason that they determined what it was the person that was with that victim, patient, whatever, said that he bought a product at one of the local convenience stores and ate the whole thing, drank the whole thing, I'm not sure what it was, and ended up having a major overdose situation. The police department then went and investigated, and with their drug testing paraphernalia, they tested a lot of the products that contained that same substance and were coming up with all kinds of negative tests because their testing equipment didn't really cover that product. So it sounds like an item, several products by multiple manufacturers containing either natural kratom, which is a plant-based item, or synthetic things that aren't really currently regulated by the state or the federal government with any kind of consistent labeling or consistent dosage suggestions or requirements. It sounds like most of the places that are selling this stuff are limiting sales to people over 21, but some of the stuff that I looked up online, you could buy things that look like the little one-shot energy drinks that have 6 doses in one bottle. And if somebody's not paying attention to that, they take the whole bottle thinking it's just like an energy drink. It's a very good chance that they could overdose on this stuff. Some of the research that I did said that it has comparable pain-killing properties as morphine, and it can be as addicting as LSD. So, something that I think us as a town, whether it's the select board or the Board of Health, we should be reviewing this and try to get out of it before it turns into a problem.
You know, I appreciate you bringing it in front of us, and obviously, as goes the county, you know, it's important for us to keep up on these kind of things as well. I'm gonna be honest, I know very little about kratom. The reading I did before this meeting was the sum total of my knowledge about it. I have seen in convenience stores, they'll have, you know, the random section of questionable substances, and I'm aware that it exists, but I have no idea anything about that. So the first thing I'm gonna say is whatever happens, I don't feel comfortable voting on anything until I've had a chance to do some research, because I literally don't know anything.
I knew nothing about it before she told me.
I want to learn about this because if it's a concern, I want to take it seriously and I want to learn about it. And maybe this is something that my research will have to uncover, but currently you're saying it's not regulated by the FDA?
Currently, there's nothing that I could find that had any FDA or CDC or anything.
Okay.
FDA, yeah.
Okay, I see in one of the packets that you brought that it says that the DEA has filed intent to schedule it, but hasn't actually scheduled it yet.
Sounds like there's been a lot of discussions.
Yes.
I found an article on the CDC website talking about increased kratom-related reports to poison centers. They're talking about it, but nobody's really done anything yet.
Yeah.
There was one article that I read, I think it was in the Miami area, that the Florida, I'm not sure if it was CDC, whatever, the Florida Department of Public Health had reported somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 overdoses as of like 2015. So it's been going on for a while. I guess it's just now getting to this area But in other parts of the country, it sounds like it's been an issue for a while.
Well, and we have a unique town that has a lot of student housing in town and a lot of convenience stores in walking distance to student housing in town.
There's no place in town that's currently selling it, is there?
I haven't seen it.
I did,
I've looked.
I hit the 3 that I know of,
Yeah.
and I didn't see any.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
see it either.
I was surprised that the old 7-Eleven store had some of the stuff that they had, but I didn't see any of this stuff there.
So that actually makes me feel better because I always want to try to balance what we're doing right for the community with what we're doing right for our businesses in town and people's personal liberties and all of the different things. But if nobody's buying it in town currently, preemptively putting up a policy in place isn't disenfranchising anybody today.
I
They're
feel
already,
the same.
if they're using it, they're already driving into Amherst or wherever.
Right.
We're not actually like disenfranchised. You're not disenfranchising people. So that makes me feel better in that respect. What I would feel good about is scheduling another conversation in, let's say, 2 weeks about this, after which time I will have had a chance to actually know what I'm talking about and not just guessing about everything, because that would make me feel better. And then at that point, we will have a real discussion on it. My preliminary thought is there's always a lag between when something hits the market and when regulators catch up. There's always a lag, and sometimes that lag is short, and sometimes that lag is decades long. And if this is something that's dangerous and that's what the science is saying, then we have a duty to do something locally if the state and the federal government hasn't caught up yet. The other question I would have, and again, maybe we don't have this information, is have other communities banned the sale? And has that been successful? Has that been challenged at this Vassar Supreme Court?
I don't know if anything's been challenged. You got the copy of what Greenfield did, right?
But not this report, the Greenfield.
I thought that I gave you a copy of what
This
Greenfield.
it had Greenfield in the email title.
No, that was.
It, just Billy on it.
No, Megan had given me a copy of the regulations that Greenfield passed.
I think that's in my email. I think I saw that earlier.
Okay.
But I
Yeah.
haven't had a chance to
Yeah,
look at it.
so
And
it's not, it's in, what's in our thing, it's just like a newspaper article on.
Oh yeah, that's the same.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
all I saw. Sure, I'll go back and maybe I missed an email. Were there 2?
It's
Yeah.
also, I'm sure it's also public record. I can also just Google what.
I
Greenfield did.
think Beanie brought it down and gave it to you before we started talking about all that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
I think I
Megan
read
gave
it
me a
today.
copy of what Greenfield approved,
Greenfield regular.
and I guess she said that Deerfield did basically the same thing, but increased the fines for violations. And what I was interested, I gave you a copy of what Hopkinton was doing, and apparently they had a Board of Health public hearing, and they're doing a partial ban and regulating some of the natural stuff, but banning some of the synthetics. So I don't know that much about it either.
That's why I preface it by saying you probably don't have an answer for me today, but no, I appreciate all the information. This is going to save me having to hunt down all of this stuff, so I will read all this between now and our next meeting, and we'll get some of the answers to all those things. My one question, since we have our lawyer and thing here, is have you heard anything about these getting shot down, or whether there's issues with that?
So we have drafted a number of these, and I was just looking at our system here for ones that we've drafted, and I'm seeing them in this area and all over the state. So they're the earliest one that we were involved in drafting is just over a year ago. So that in the court world is still very fresh.
Yeah.
So
The ink is still wet.
Still wet, so exactly. So it hasn't been adjudicated one way or the other
Okay.
than to say, I'm counting at least 10 in the state that we've been involved in, and I do not see on our firm system any litigation yet from any of them.
And devil's advocate, because it's new, we don't know yet, if somebody took offense at this, a local business owner who had decided last week they wanted to start doing it and now we're all upset about it, they file suit in local county court or something like that against us, what is our risk here? Is it just that the statute would get shot down and that's the end of the story and we have to go back to the drawing board or wait for the state to pass something? Or would the town be liable for damages because we did something that the state decides was a violation of their First Amendment right or something like that.
Sure, sure. No, it's a great question. So typically, it would just strike down the regulation.
Okay.
You know, oftentimes in these sorts of cases where you get a decision at the Superior Court level, let's say a town loses, right, rather than pay the expense of an appeal, you may pay out a small, you know, settlement, right? Those are typically the worst case things, equivalent to whatever the lost business might have been. But in a case like this, where we have emerging regulation and a lack of guidance from the state, usually a court doesn't order any remedy other than to say you can now do what you were prohibited from doing before.
Okay, that makes sense, and that makes me feel a little better all around. Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Just if the state, I mean, just timeframes, you're saying all localities and municipalities are doing this. The state must be thinking about it. Is that like a 2-year effort, or does it take a long time?
Yeah, it takes a while, and part of the reason is, you know, when it comes to boards of health in particular, and you know, Mr. Lanik will know this, that you know, we have a very local health system in Massachusetts, and so there isn't necessarily, there's no state board of health that is going to come up with a regulation that applies statewide. Right? There is a state board of education, and they could take a rule that applies to all the schools. But we don't get that in the same context when it comes to public health based on the way that we've designed it. So what is most likely is a statute that comes out, and that obviously takes some time. I can tell you I'm not aware of any imminent action from the state, and looking here in our firm system, I don't see anybody else's either.
Okay, great. Dan, Crystal, any other questions?
I'm just trying to look it up. I'm just wondering, like, is this, how expensive is this stuff? Is it
I
like,
think it's like $10 a little bottle.
Megan was telling me there was something that was like in a cart, like a candy bar form. It was like
yeah, because I know
30
there's
was like
tablets,
35
there's
bucks.
energy drinks.
So it sounded like the price range was pretty broad, anywhere from
Okay.
10 to 35 to 50, $60.
Well, and because it's unregulated and
Typically
things,
20
you don't
to
know whether the dose you're getting
$72
is the same
depending on
dose each time or
brands.
not. You know,
That's the
a
problem,
lot of
from what it sounds
Yeah.
like, is the labeling isn't consistent. And if you're not reading the fine print, you don't know what you're
And
doing.
I think the reason for the new push, from what I read a couple of years ago, is because it's the synthetic form is what's making people sick.
Mhm.
Well, it sounds like the
And more
synthetic is
addictive.
more potent.
Yeah.
It's more potent,
Yeah.
and it's, you know, and it's the potency at that level being undetermined, you know, any jar, any container you get, you don't know what you got.
Yeah.
And that's, but it's the synthetic. I think the natural, there's still people that, you know, have talked about the natural 10 years ago and used it, that will argue that it's not as dangerous.
Yeah.
So that, I think it's the synthetic one that's really.
No, and at the end of the day, you know, I'm a huge proponent of the freedoms of you know, people's individual freedoms. I have no problem doing people doing what they want to do. I just want to make sure they're doing it in a safe way. I want to make sure that they're not going to a store thinking they're buying a afternoon's fun and instead buying a trip to the ER. Like that's not good for anybody. And so, again, we'll have to talk about it a lot, but it definitely is something we need to consider. So thank you.
And I know it's on our next meeting's agenda to talk about it some more as well, so that's going to be sometime in
One more
August.
question for you. Who would vote on that? Would that end up being them or us?
That would end up being the Board of Health. So
Okay.
to the extent that the Select Board would like to provide input, certainly you'd be free to, but statutorily under Chapter 111, it is a Board of Health power, and the Board of Health would be empowered to pass the regulation on its own.
And would the select board be within our purview to send a recommendation?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's what we'll probably do is between now and 2 weeks from now, we will get through all the material, get ourselves up to speed so we know what we're talking about. In 2 weeks, we'll have another discussion, which you're welcome to join us for if you're available. And at that point, we will vote on a recommendation to either pursue that or a recommendation to not pursue that, depending on how that goes.
Or defer the.
Or just to completely
defer
be
the
like,
judgment.
no recommendation, you guys do you.
Well,
One of those three.
I think what I'll try to do is get a hold of Megan and see if I can get copies of what Greenfield and Deerfield did.
Okay.
It sounded like she had copies. of
Yeah,
that.
so I'm wondering if these are those beverages they're advertising that are alcohol-free but still the buzz.
Oh yeah, no, there's a bunch of,
I've seen
a
those.
lot of that stuff.
I'm sorry?
I've seen those,
Yes.
yeah.
But that's what I'm wondering.
These, I think, most
They're really
often come
tiny.
in pill
They're
form.
real, but no, they have a lot of jars.
There's pills,
I've seen
there's
it.
No,
liquid
so,
shots, there's
so,
candy bars.
At least I
there's-
know, like,
Yep.
again,
Yeah.
I've never
Yeah,
seen
could
it
be
for
that.
sale
Yeah.
here, but in Texas, I'd seen it for sale because it was, a big thing locally, and it was like a Red Bull can, or it was like a seltzer can, and they were pretty, they were pink and orange and lime green, but they were like a full-size can.
Well, the picture that Megan gave me, she took from Cumberland Farms in South Deerfield, and some of it looks like it's prepared like candy bars to attract kids.
Mhm.
And that was what she was concerned with, is how they're marketing this stuff.
Oh, so South Deerfield is selling this.
She said she saw some at the South Deerfield Cumberland Farms.
So I guess here's.
And that's why Deerfield jumped on doing something about it,
I'm shocked.
is what
that
she
some
told
of
me,
the
I don't
ones-
know. I haven't seen it, I didn't go over there to look.
So I think I know the answer to this question, but aside from straight up banning it, do we have powers to regulate it otherwise? For example, could we insist on a 21, like a driver's license of being 21, for example? Is that something that even within our power, or would that get shut down?
It's within your power, and the power, though, rests ultimately with the Board of Health.
Yeah. I meant the town in general. Yeah.
Yes, is within the power of the town to do so. Again, I'm just looking at a few of them here. There's a wide variety of different approaches that cities and towns have taken. And as long as the Board of Health can tie its approved regulation to a set of reasons, which based on the conversation we've had, there are some good reasons out there, it sounds like, then the Board of Health has discretion to craft the regulation as broad or as narrow as is necessary to protect the public health.
So, in my head, I'm thinking of a regulation that says that the establishments that sell it are required to collect ID for over 21. Any product being sold in town has to have a clear label that indicates the dosage and the number of doses that is for a
Like,
person.
there's a picture of
Yeah,
it.
like if one of these like commercial products, I'm not so much worried about. I'm more worried
Oh,
about
I'm- I'm
I'm a little worried about that. I'm more worried about the sketchier ones, the ones that are just some operation somewhere in Worcester or something like that are making little jars that have a handwritten label on them. I'm not saying necessarily that those are what's out there, but without regulation, those can be out there tomorrow without anything. So that's something I would also like to at least think about is, do we go banning it entirely, or do we come up with some very common sense regulations that alleviate our concerns, especially since we don't think it's even happening in town anyways. But anyways,
Yep.
we all have to think about. I appreciate you being here for all of the answers. That's
Yes,
great.
happy to be, yeah. And one other thing I might mention, Mr. Chair, is the session of the legislature generally concludes on July 31st. There'll be some additional action after that, but it is really going to conclude at the end of this week. There are about 10 bills on Kratom currently pending, and I think we're either going to see one of those emerge for passage by July 31st or not until the next session.
Okay.
Wow.
So in 2 weeks we will have an answer on that then. Also,
Good.
wonderful.
So-
So yeah, if we can, I don't know, Becky, if you can try to
Yes, I will.
find out what the
track
answer
down.
is by the 1st, because our next meeting will be the 3rd, I think it is, or no, the 10th. So by the 10th, we should have an answer on what's going on at the state level. If there already is legislation that's being passed at the state level, maybe we put the brakes on things because we'll wait to see what happens there,
So,
Don't need to-
Mr. Olenek, do they sell this at liquor stores in some towns, or,
I don't know.
okay, 'cause
I've seen it at gas stations,
right, but I'm wondering,
and some of the gas stations sell liquor.
right, so that's not my question. My question is, is this a Billy's Beer and Wine type, their distributors? Because-
It could be.
Right, because that might be something we would, there's what, 2 liquor stores in town, there's a spirit shop, and Billy's, where
And then the corner store sells liquor, a couple places like that.
Right, but I'm
Yeah,
talking
yeah, yeah.
the sole liquor store places, is there a distributor? You know, is this a common place to buy it?
And that's partially why I'm floating the idea of having some regulations, because we can require that establishments in town that sell it register with the town as being, hey, we sell this, because then next time we talk about it, we would actually have a clue if there's establishments in
Yeah.
town. Because right now, there could be 3 establishments in town that are selling it, and we have no idea.
Yeah, because
so-
I mean, just looking at this packaging, that looks like something you would be seeing, you know, in the
Several.
twisted tea
Candy
aisle at a liquor store.
Yeah, no, it's
You know?
very colorful packaging, and also those dimensions scream soda or
Right,
energy drink or
and just,
seltzer or whatever.
it's called euphoric seltzer.
Yeah.
So, to me, that almost sounds like it's also a liquor, you know, a beer and wine distributor.
Yep.
That answers your question.
So yeah, it does often get sold in liquor stores. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
So it could be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and literally, I mean,
I haven't seen it in town, but it could.
unregulated, any store that has a common vic license could be selling it, because we don't know and we don't have any way of telling that. So that's again why I'm saying that if the answer is no to banning it, I think the answer should be yes to regulating it. The question is which way we go in that. We'll talk about that, and we will provide our recommendation to the Board of Health. Wonderful.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you coming in.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Sorry you had to do the rest of the stuff to get to us, but
That's all right.
you know, how it goes.
Good to see you.
He was
Good
warned
to see
and
you
he
too.
came at the 6:30 anyway. I told him not till 7.
Could you email me the pending legislation?
Yes, I will.
So I can follow that?
Yep.
And if you could CC me on that also.
Happy to. Yep.
Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, there's about 10 of them. I'll send you all the bills.
That would be great. Thanks. That way I can keep track of what's
Yeah,
going on.
absolutely.
All
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
much. Thank you, Mr.
Great seeing you.
Ryan.
All right, next up is the Agricultural Preservation Restriction, APR, for the Mark B.
There is somebody in the waiting room.
Uh-oh.
Anthony Jacobs. Okay. All right. Give me a second. Give me one.
Jen might want to talk as well. She,
Hey,
Hi,
Jen.
Jen. This person isn't. I
Maybe,
don't know.
can you unmute Jennifer?
Yeah.
Oh, she is.
I think she's under.
Can I just unmute myself? Did you ask me a question? Sorry.
No,
No, we're just making sure that we didn't not
Yeah, yeah, yep.
include you. All right, so this is an agricultural preservation restriction for a field on Russell Street. I got the map here somewhere. Where is it? Too many papers this time.
Sorry.
Not that one.
You want to give us? I'm sending you a map.
There you go.
Ah, beautiful. Thank you. All right. Tiny bit of frontal property, huge field that flies out back there. It's sandwiched between 2 other fields and a bunch of other property, all of which, as far as I can tell from the paperwork I saw earlier, belongs to the family that owns this property that is putting it into APR. That always makes me much happier because we always are concerned about neighbors and their feelings, but if it's all the same family, ostensibly they talked about it at some point or another. So I don't really have any concerns about this. Dan, do you have anything you want to talk about? Crystal, anything?
No.
Anything from you?
Jen has
Okay.
something.
Yeah, go ahead, Jen.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so the select board had already voted on this as an approval for the APR, but it wasn't clear if the required notice that the state requires was read out loud as part of their contribution to the APR program and process. So it's back on the agenda to read that official notice, and I can do that if you want.
Yeah, Jen.
If you want to, go right ahead.
I gave him 3 notes that's outlining the area saying, Nathaniel, you have to read this.
Do you want me to read it, or do you want to read that, Jen?
You ready to go?
Notice of proposed acquisition of an agricultural preservation restriction on property in the town of Sunderland. Date of notice, January 30th, 2026. Notice of proposed acquisition is hereby given to Chairman of the Board of Selectmen of Select Board of the Town of Sunderland. Separate notice will be given by the department to the appropriate county commissioners, regional planning agency, and the members of the general court representing the district in which the land is located. In compliance with General Law, Chapter 7C, Section 37, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, acting by and through its Department of Agricultural Resources, the department hereby gives notice that it proposes to acquire an agricultural preservation restriction, APR, on the real property identified herein for the purpose of protecting in perpetuity its superior and productive agricultural resources by preventing their conversion to other uses. The application received by MDAR indicates that the property is owned by Mark D. Kolosinski and Elizabeth A. Kolosinski and consists of parcel located at Russell Street in Sunderland as approximately represented on the attached maps. The APR may encompass all or parts of the area shown. The current use of the property is primarily for hay. Following the recording of the APR, the use of the subject property is limited to agricultural use as more particularly set forth in the APR document, the general laws, Chapter 184, Section 31, and the regulations of the department from 330 CMR 22. Massachusetts Department of Agricultural Resources, signed by Michelle Padula. Arlene, APR Acquisition Coordinator, contact. In addition to that, they are also asking for the usual 120-day notice to be shortened to 60-day notice period. I don't know if this one got signed by you all and if you agree
They
to
did sign
that.
the second form.
Yep. Yep, that's fine.
Consent to the reduction of notice period.
Yep.
Yep,
I'll
we're
sign.
fine with both of those.
Okay.
Do we need to vote again, or is it just the reading that was the part that was missing?
I would
Just-
just vote again, just to be 100% sure.
Can't go
Because
wrong
we
with that.
couldn't, yeah, I found that it was listed on an agenda. It was when Margaret was here and I was out, and
Right.
I couldn't find that everything had been completed.
2 votes are fine, 0 votes are a problem. All right, at this time, or before I do that, any questions on this one?
No.
All right, at this time, I would entertain a motion to approve the agricultural preservation restriction as presented with a reduced notice period of, was it 60 days?
60.
60 days.
So moved?
Second?
We have a motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
3-0. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jennifer. Appreciate your
Thank
patience
you.
with us. All right, we already did the one-day liquor license. That is all set. The last 2 items we have are, I'm going to combine them because they're sort of the same thing, and that is the select board review of the animal control contract and the dog kennel contract. And as mentioned earlier in tonight's program, that is with the Franklin County Sheriff's Dog Control Unit, whatever they want to call that. As we had talked about this before, we used to have a dog control officer in town of our own. That position was vacated, and then we were unable to fill it for a certain period of time, and it's been unduly taxing our police department to be able to handle something that's not really their purview. And so, was it 6 months ago, or something like that, we signed a temporary or a prorated deal with them for the remainder of the previous year, and we are now talking about the contract going forward. Okay. I don't have any questions on this one. They did great work. I'm glad to have them. Crystal, anything you want to?
Happy to have it.
Yeah. All right. At this time, I would entertain a motion to approve the contract for the animal control and the dog kennel with the Franklin County Sheriff's Department.
I motion we approve the contract for the animal control and dog kennel.
Second?
All right. A motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. 3-0. Thank you very much. All right, that is everything under new business up to old business. First up is select board updates. Dan, do you have anything for us?
Just remind everybody, there is a candidate forum on Wednesday night at the Congregational Church. The Democratic candidates are going to run for the first House Franklin seat. So 6:30. If you have any questions, you can go and ask them. And it's just going to be moderated as well.
What night is it?
That's Wednesday,
This
6:30.
Wednesday.
Yeah, come right up.
And it's at the church, you said?
It's at the Sunderland Congregational Church. Right.
At the chapel building or in
I'm
the
not sure, it's in
central?
the church. I guess it's in the chapel building.
Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you for that update. Crystal, do you have anything for us tonight?
South County EMS had an inquiry from the town of Hatfield. They're having some problems staffing their ambulance, looking to see what South County EMS can provide for resources for them, so that will be a upcoming topic of discussion, I'm sure.
Yep, I remember the outgoing chief bringing that up to us a while ago, that
Yeah,
they
so
were-
we were doing a lot of coverage, but now they've actually made an official
which
ask.
sounds good, because making it official sounds like a good thing all around. Okay, anything else, Crystal?
No.
All right, I only have one thing, and it's actually a personal thing. I just want to give a quick shout out to my children who turned 18 today. I have twins. They are now officially adults. They will be voting this fall. I will brag them. They will win. Just want to take a moment to say how proud I am of them and how they've turned into absolutely wonderful young adults. I just could not be more proud of the adults that they've turned into. And they're going to be embarrassed because, of course, they are. That's it for me.
Because they're teenagers.
Because they're teenagers, exactly. All right, that is it for select board updates, town administrator updates.
I want to just review the assessors, terms.
Mm-hmm.
We've had a lot of activity. Oh, Jen's still almost here. We've had a lot of transition in our assessors, and I would just like to review that for you all, and I gave you a sheet on it if you
Yep.
don't have it.
I get that.
So I'm just going to go through the folks who have served
Mhm.
recently. So from spring 2023 to spring 26, Mary Ann Kowalik served. Mike Skabisky served from spring 2024 to June 30th, 26. He left before his term was complete. He has been, we have another person who has taken his spot so Mary Ann Kowalik, when her term was complete, it opened up an assessor spot, one of the three. Jen came to our, what do you call it what you do here?
Our caucus.
I'm sorry, this is a new thing for me. Jen came to the caucus, and then she was nominated. She was elected after our annual town meeting. So Jen is now on board with a full 3-year term.
Okay, and that goes through spring of 29.
Yes.
Okay.
Mike Skabisky decided to end his term a year early. He started his probably 20th term. I believe he served for 40 years, 35 years.
It's been a lot, yeah.
So Mike's last term started spring of 2024. He resigned June 30, 2026. We were very fortunate that somebody learned that we had a response from the public to the opening, and Jim Poole has been appointed by both boards to complete the term that Jim would have finished. So Jim...
That Mike would finish, right?
That Mike finished.
Okay, yeah.
I should be.
So yeah, there's 2 Jims.
So Mike term ended, and our new Jim Poole started through appointment on the 13th of July.
And his ends this spring, this coming spring, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And he will be up for election again this spring. Not again, for the first time, he will be up for election, come to the caucus, and then we'll have the election process.
Yep.
So that leaves Jim Kowalik. Jim's latest term, he was elected for spring of 2025, not last year, but the year before. He has resigned as of July 31st. His last day is Friday, and he, we have no one yet in the wings to replace Jim. So at this point, we have 2 elected assessors. If somebody is interested in Jim's spot, it would start as of, yeah, we'd have to do a partial term to get him up to the third year.
And that
So
one
we
would be
have-
a year and a half long-ish, or,
No, it would only be till spring of 2027, then they would run
Right.
for
Okay,
1
so-
year to get it
Okay.
back into cycle.
so they're only finishing this year, not the whole term? That's important, okay, thank you. Thank you for the clarification. Okay, so, so whoever would be, brought in for that would be finishing out 10 months or something like that of that term, or 8 months, 9 months, whatever, of that term. Then they'd be, so we're gonna have, one way or the other, we're having 2 seats open for election this spring.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, which would be Jim Pools and then the unnamed other person that we harangued into doing that.
Replacing Jim Clark.
Yeah. But then, okay, but then, and Jennifer, because she was elected, has the full 3-year term. Okay, got it all in my head, lots of numbers, lots of dates, lots of people, lots of Jims. Okay, thank you. Dan, Crystal, any questions on all that?
No, let's hope we find somebody.
Yep, I will ask around.
Jen, have you heard of anybody interested? No. Okay, we have to keep looking.
Well, we will
I
keep looking.
have some new names to call, but no yeses from anyone yet.
But you can have meetings and you can vote to nothing on
Yeah, they have-
anything, right?
Yep.
And the most wonderful thing, Jen came in today with certificates for the 3 things that DOR is requiring of them to get certified. So that's 1 out of 2. I'm not sure.
On my vacation time.
Yeah, she was at the Cape.
You're a trooper.
And I know Jen's working on it as well. So I believe before, well, maybe by the end of the week, we might be certified
Wonderful.
again.
That is wonderful. And I will absolutely keep my eyes and ears open for somebody who I can try to convince to do this as well. All right, anything else, Chris, from, oh, Janet, your hand up?
Anything on the hiring? Any more new candidates, or you don't talk about that now with names or anything, I know, but process for that or any other possibilities there?
Well, my last conversation was with Jen, and we decided that assessors would do interviews starting in August.
Okay.
And that was what I sent back to the 2 applicants we had.
Perfect.
Um,
Sounds good. And if you need any support around that, Jennifer, just let us know. Wonderful. Anything else, Becky? Okay. Thank you for that update. I appreciate it. It is a heck of a thing to go from over 100 years of experience on the board to not that I mean,
Which took 2 months.
in 2 months. So that is a heck of a thing. And just a quick little thank you to Jen for sticking with this and taking it on, and we appreciate that, and we will do everything we can to support you. And I will keep saying that every time we have one of these conversations for a while at least. You're welcome. All right. I think that's it for that. Anything else from you for town administrator updates?
I just wanted, under the correspondence, to make sure that we noted about the O's
Yes.
being their liquor license will be suspended for a week. And it starts first thing on Monday, and that's August 3rd, and then on.
Well, it's 5 days, not
It's-
a week, right?
Correct.
Okay.
They'll run through the work week for 5 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Saturday, we will return their license, as the state has directed us to do.
And then there's 4 more additional days that are being held in reserve in the case of a reoffending. Is that correct? Okay. Thank you. Any questions or comments on that item? Thank you for the update on that. All right. Any other updates from you?
The only other one, I put the letter, Governor Healy's letter. She was talking about $100 million additional for funding for education. Not for education. Yes, for education. Sorry. So they already have allocated an extra $100 million for highway, and that has all gone through the legislature. But the letter came out just a couple weeks ago where she's pushing to do the same for education and giving our situation, any additional dollars will be very welcome.
Now, let's say our town's chunk of that was $20,000, I'm just pulling a number out of, does that money come into the town's free cash coffers for next year to be considered? Does that money go directly to Darius to divvy between the elementary school and
I would
Frontier?
imagine it would go directly to the school district.
Okay.
Because that's how the earmark was handled.
So the reason I'm asking is because we also have another issue with the Smith Voc situation.
Right.
And I'm wondering if money does come in,
If we can
is there a
use it
way
for
where we
that.
can use that for that so that we have a
Yeah.
path to fix that?
I will, most likely, I will inquire right away.
Please ask about that, thank you. Wonderful, okay, great, that's wonderful news. I appreciate the administration doing that, it's sorely needed. I'd like to say 100 million in each of them is enough, it's not, but it's a start. So, we will certainly take it. On that note, especially on the schools note, just a reminder to everybody that the Franklin Tech new school is still on the horizon, and it is going to be a ginormous expense and a ginormous project and a ginormous everything. This is the time to talk to your state legislators and your federal representatives and senators about what they can do to support, whether the state can come up with some additional money that's not part of the grant that we're looking at, whether we can get someone like Jim McGovern to put an earmark into some federal bill or something like that for us. All that takes time, and time is ticking on this, so if you are somebody like me who cares a lot about that and wants to see the school get the schools they deserve, please do take the time now to reach out to anyone who will listen who has a little bit of power over it. That's my entire soapbox on that. Anything else from you?
No, not tonight. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for both of those. The last thing we have under old business is the review of the Deerfield letter from Sunderland and Whately. So I see that we have the new copy of that somewhere in here. I saw it earlier. I read it over, I thought about it a little bit, I am fine with it as it stands.
Me as well.
Do you have any questions on?
You what?
Me as well. I read it and was happy with it.
I don't like it.
No?
No.
Okay, tell us. Strength, stronger words?
No, so that's my whole thing. And this is Crystal's opinion only, and we don't always have to agree. I just feel like all it is more nagging. Right? They know we weren't happy. What is sending this letter gonna do for us at the end of the day?
I don't know. It's
Right,
It,
so
it
that-
puts it in writing. I don't know. It's just
Right,
it's the
but-
last
and
thing
again-
before we move on.
But, so and this is, again,
Yeah.
do we need this last before we move on, or do we send a letter saying, this is what the memorandum of, says that the boo is responsible. Take out the words like undermining and,
I think that's gone.
No, we took a lot. There's a lot that was
I just
pulled out of
feel
it.
like it's,
Okay.
that, and again, that's my opinion, I just don't know, there's no action in the letter, right? There's nothing that says, can we meet as a group of select board members on such and such a date and have a discussion? There's no,
Yeah. I mean, I know that Deerfield has switched members of the Boo. I saw something about that. So that's happening, and I think that the Boo just carries on
Yes.
with this.
Yes.
If you feel less strongly, I mean, they understand how we feel, but I think it's good in a sense for us just to document that it was real. I mean, they spent a lot of time doing that thing. We'll spend a little time to write a letter on our
Yeah.
response to that.
Yeah, the way I feel about it is, number one, I have an overdeveloped sense of justice. I'm well aware of that. That is one of the burdens that I carry in my life. And I don't like what they did. I don't think they did
No,
was right. And
I
I
agree.
want some slap on the wrist. And I know that none of us have any power to actually do anything in that respect. But the letter felt like, at the very least, the thing we could do that was adjacent to a slap on the wrist. Letting them know we're not happy. And the other part of it is, I work in the corporate world. It didn't happen if it's not in an email. It didn't happen if it didn't get written down. It didn't happen if it wasn't put in a letter, in writing, and documented in a way that is on the record forever. And my feeling on this, and again, I know that I have an issue with justice, is that having it be put out there officially is different than them just, oh, they know that we're not happy.
Yeah. And I just say again, I witnessed a ton of work, a ton of thought,
No,
a ton of all of that.
I
So for me, a
100%
short little letter,
agree.
just reminding them of that, and that's it, we'll just get to work.
Yeah, no, and it's fine, I just feel like, you know, call them a puppy wearing bunny ears, call them a divorce. Maybe it's, you know, and again, it's just, I don't have a problem with the letter. I guess what I would like to see in that is at least something that says, can we meet as, you know.
Well, let's just reiterate the board of oversight to do its duty.
Yeah, right.
Do we get any language in the back of it about that?
Yeah.
Okay, so. maybe-
Yeah, it addresses the
we
roof
wanted to get-
structure and to redo the.
What's the timing that we wanted to get this to them tonight, right? Or
Well,
2 weeks?
it's with 2 boards involved, so I think it's pretty much a regular copy.
Oh, okay, there's
Two
the,
other questions.
Because
there's so many copies of it in
I
there, I
know,
wasn't
that's why
sure.
I'm nervous.
Well, I hope I
with
saw,
it.
I saw.
It's the one
well, I saw
that says,
pretty
I
sure.
told you with the X.
Yeah, I just go by date, the most recent one. Added.
Yeah, the one with the X at the
Two
end.
questions on that. One, has Whately already voted on sending this letter?
They will vote on Wednesday.
Okay, because that also matters also, is, because we're doing this together,
Right.
and I want to make sure that we are on the same page, you know?
And they have made some changes, and
Yeah.
that's why I was struggling, I was trying to print out the version that still had all the changes, but they all went away in that first version I printed.
And also, Dan, do you know who the member was that was voted into the booth?
It was the newest, I should know the name.
Gilmore.
Yeah, Brad?
Peter?
Blake,
Blake,
Blake.
it's Blake,
Blake.
you're right.
I think Peter's his.
Okay,
brother.
so Blake, the new
He's
member.
taking Trevor's, Trevor's moved to EMS, I believe.
Okay,
Blake's taking it.
okay.
oh, Trevor's moved it, I didn't know
I
that.
think so.
Okay.
It's right in, I'm sorry. I have that copy, but I'm trying to find it.
So I see both sides of the same thing, which is one side is everything that's in the letter is something that we said in public session already, and so why are we saying it a second time? And the flip side is everything we said is something that we've already said in public session, so what's the harm in saying it again in the letter? So it's sort of, I can kind of go either way on that. My vote would be to send the letter, and that's how I plan to vote. But as Crystal said, if the other members of the board vote against me, I will also be perfectly happy with that answer as well.
Yeah,
No
no.
hard feelings.
Right,
No?
exactly,
Which is kind of to your point, is because this isn't something that matters that much. Really. It's not
I just
something
want to
that-
see it. I guess I'm
Read
looking.
the last paragraph. Move forward together in this effort.
Right.
I used the last sentence. I mean, it's gotta go through Whately still.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, they've made changes that I sent back to you guys.
Yeah.
yeah, I just don't know, you know, again, when I was reading through these today, and yesterday and last week, it's like sometimes when you open one up, it says an hour ago, and then I go, who is the one that is the newest?
Oh, I put the X on it.
Oh, okay,
It was the file with the X at the end.
all right.
So I guess one other option we have is we could postpone our vote until our next meeting, see how it goes, and give us a chance to think about it more. I don't need to think about it more, but
Yeah.
I'm just putting
No,
that as a possibility.
and then, just want to see it something, you know?
No, I'm with you on that.
Yeah. Want the towns to move forward together in an effort to find regional solutions. It's words, but there's not anything about how do we move forward together, how do we, you know, I guess it's you know, it's me,
Yeah, I hear you.
having a whole career of dealing with, you know, state regulators and,
I think we'll move forward, it'll be fine.
yeah, I hope so, I hope so.
We will.
Dan, do you have anything else you want to
No.
discuss? Crystal, anything else?
Nope.
Okay. At this time, I would entertain a motion to approve the sending of the joint letter to the Deerfield Select Board from us, contingent on Whately also approving said letter.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
I,
Aye. Brilliantly. All right, that is all of our old and new business for today. We have a executive session, which is going to be coming up right now. Before we do that, any public comment? Anything from you?
I don't think so. Is the draft letter included in the meeting materials, or?
I'm not sure it's the right one.
Okay.
I think it is, but
Okay,
I'm pretty
I'll
sure it
check.
is, but
Why
I can
would you
email it.
give a
I'll
draft
email you
letter
that.
to-
Okay.
Why
We
would you
wanna
give
wait,
it,
we wanna wait till.
you'd never give a
Yeah,
draft letter?
I can't give it to you now.
It's a draft letter, it's
But
not.
but it's presented in public, it's
Or
a
you're
public
discussing
document.
it?
Yeah. I guess, it's a draft, we haven't, it's
But
not,
it's still a public document,
Great,
so I'm,
great.
Yeah.
Discussing it in public.
yeah,
That's a good word.
I will email.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right, at this time, I would entertain a motion for the select board to move into executive session, after which we will vote to return to public session just to adjourn.
You could do it to adjourn at the end of public session.
Okay.
You mean at the end of executive session?
Yeah.
Yeah, at the end of executive.
So sure,
Yeah,
at the conclusion of our executive session, we will adjourn. The executive session is being held for reason number 3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigation position of the public body and the chair so declares. In this case, the Dollar General lawsuit, Calito Development Group LLC versus Town of Sunderland, Smith J. At this time, I would entertain a motion to move into executive session. Roll call vote.
And Mr. Chair, if I may, only because I had a complaint on this recently, where you
Yes.
say, if the chair so declares, may I ask, do you so declare?
I so declare. Thank you.
I kid you not, I had a
Oh, no.
complaint on just that.
I believe you 100%. I so declare. I, Nathaniel Waring.
I, Crystal Drake Tremblay.
And you get to go.
All right, we are now in executive session. I'm going to have you turn off the camera, please, sir.